News just in says that the Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, has given a list of Nigerians who allegedly looted the nation's treasury. The minister, who is briefing journalists in Lagos, said the individuals include officials in the past government. The decision by the APC government to reveal the names of the alleged looters and the funds stolen is in response to the opposition party PDP's challenge to the government to name those alleged to have looted the country, destroying its economy. And to Botswana, where the President Ian Khama has wrapped up a nationwide farewell tour as he prepares to step down on Saturday after a decade in power. Mr. Khama is stepping down 18 months before the next election is due and will hand over to his deputy, President Mogwitsi Masasi. Well, he has toured all of Botswana's 57 constituencies since December in a long goodbye to his supporters in the country, which has a population of about 2.2 million. In his ancestral village, he rejected pleas from villagers to remain in office, saying he took office only because his predecessor convinced him to do so. The 65-year-old's decision is in sharp contrast to some other African leaders who have tried to change the constitution to extend their rule. And among some of the gifts that he received during the farewell tour, 3 cars worth more than $300,000, 500 chickens, a pistol, a tractor, shares in Botswana's main telecoms company. Well, a guest in the studio joins us to talk more about that. Dr. Adetokunbo Piers, an African Affairs analyst. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
After 10 years in power, is Mr. Khama's decision really a sharp contrast to other African, leaders who have tried to change the constitution to extend their rule?
Yes, it is, and it's a welcome change. Too many leaders in Africa want to be presidents for life. We saw it in Zimbabwe recently. We've seen it, I believe, in Togo. Even in Kenya, what happened in Kenya was quite a disgrace where, elections were not really decisive and so on. So this is a welcome change and we applaud him for it. We salute his courage and we hope that other people will learn from this because that is what keeps the country, Botswana, stable and economically progressive.
Some would say some of the gifts he received are rather unusual on his extensive farewell tour. Does this tell us how much loved and accepted he is by the people of Botswana?
Well, people are giving him chickens and so on. That's what they can give, It shows that they really respect him and they love him. They admire him, not only because he's leaving office prematurely, but because of the way he governed. Botswana has been a very stable country politically and has won many awards, economic development awards and so on. So here is a man who has been in office for 10 years and is leaving and people are applauding him instead of shouting him down and telling him, wishing him all the ill luck in the world. It showed that when he was in government, he was committed to improving the quality of life for his people and developing his nation.
Interesting to note that you mentioned stability. Now, Mr. Khama, in his farewell address to Parliament, says that Botswana has the strongest democracy in Africa and, it should be guarded jealously. Do you agree with him?
It certainly has one of the strongest democracies in Africa. And, look, the things that you do in government, the results are quite predictable. We're having a problem now in Nigeria where parties cannot have conventions. So if you don't have a convention, how do you become the candidate of the party? Because really, not to go too far from home, what we're having in Nigeria now is a recipe for political chaos. Because very soon, Buhari would say, some people want him to run, he will run, and then how do you get the nomination when you didn't have a convention? There are steps you must take in democracy in order for you to have credibility. And what they have done in Botswana is every election cycle, you have proper conventions, you have open and fair primaries. Whoever wins goes in and becomes the president. If you don't have that, you're likely to have chaos.
Statistics have also showed that 1 in every 5 Botswanan is unemployed. They've had problems of poor spending cuts and waste. Do you see Deputy Masisi perhaps as a safe pair of hands?
Well, Masisi will take over until the election. Then they'll have elections again, and whoever wins in an open primaries will become the president. What you have in Botswana, you say it's only 1 out of 5. That's 20% unemployment. That is fantastic. Nigeria, in some parts of our country, Nigeria, the unemployment rate is as high as 70%.
Yeah, so one would argue that the population differs.
No, we're talking about percentages.
Okay.
It's percentage. And by the way, if you talk about Botswana being a small country, for which reason it has done well economically, I would say that's a very valid argument for restructuring Nigeria. It's too big. The smaller the unit, the more manageable the unit, and that's what you have an example of Botswana. But anyway, Botswana, 1 out of 5 unemployed is low unemployment in Africa. That is only 20%. The best we can say for a country like Nigeria is about 48% unemployment. And as I said, in some areas, it's as high as 70%. So we need to learn a lot from Botswana and a lot from the way they run their system and a lot from the dignity and the integrity expressed by President Kama and leaders of Botswana over the years.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adetukumbo Pierce, African Affairs Analyst, for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Still to come on the program, AfriTech takes a look at the importance of coding for the future. Please join us again.